Okay, hey guys. Today I'm gonna be basically just working on a little idea I had last night, and I'm gonna be talking about how I basically started off doing graphic design in high school and everything. So I'm gonna just get started here. Um, I when I was about nine, my parents moved to America, and that's wrong. um, and I basically got into graphic design when I started high school, and it was mostly due to because it was just a class that everyone could take because it was a class that basically had so much room because we my school actually had like an enormous computer lab that we had MacBooks in that could all work on and everything, which was great. I mean, it seriously was amazing. Also, I mean, the main part about it was that the teacher, most that's with every single class, I personally think that the teacher makes an enormous difference in if a class is fun or not. So I basically I'm just gonna do a little quick sketch here of uh, what I want this thing to similarly look like. Um, but I had an amazing teacher who was very attentive to students and always helped no matter what. Um, just get this thing started here really fast. I've actually been out of, I mean, I haven't used Photoshop in quite a while. I've just recently moved back to Germany, uh, recently, but over half a year now, and due to the moving and everything, I just have not had time to um, get back into actually working on anything. Okay, I'm just gonna make a really rough sketch here on something that I want. And I mean, here you can see basically my art style that I like to go with. Um, I mean, I tend to call it that I go off of the Bauhaus design from the 1930s about. But I like to put my own modern spin on it and everything. I guess modern spin. I like to mix things and make it. I like to have something wild and crazy that's mostly fantasy like and quite surreal to be honest. So I'm just gonna get this started here. Oh god, on my other screen. There we go. Um, and I do only work with primary color. Well, not only primary colors, but my main work tends to be just running off of the primary colors. Um, there, this, then okay. So this is basically just like I tend to have most of my uh, design ideas when I'm falling asleep, so I tend to like pull out my phone really quick and just do a quick sketch, and basically this is exactly what it looked like. And that's basically what I'm gonna try to recreate. I mean, I know in school and everything, you learn, you need to sketch, 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 sketch. I mean, I mostly spend my time in high school sketching stuff, which is something that I personally am really against because I just don't like the idea of sketching because I'm not very good at bringing out my picture that is in my head with my hands. Like I've tried actually drawing. Here, let me rename this really fast. I've tried just do 16 dollars. I've tried drawing by hand and everything, and working with paints and everything like that, and it's just something that I'm not capable of doing, and which I mean is quite difficult for some people too. I guess I mean it's different working on a computer than working on an actual, you know, piece of paper. And I'm personally more capable of getting a design out by like making a design by just having the picture in my head and everything. Um, it's just 24s, and we're at okay. 36. Okay. I mean, I in high school I started off in ninth grade. So we basically my our teacher that we had, he started off the year that started off at our school the year that I started off doing graphic design, and so we basically he was getting adjusted as we were getting adjusted, which was a very nice way of doing it, I guess, because everyone, you know, was still getting used to each other, so there was a more of a closer relationship, I would say. Um, be um, look like ass if I don't put that correctly. Um, I'm sorry if I don't talk quite a bit as I do this. It's difficult for me to be concentrating on what I'm doing because I'm still getting my bearings back on Photoshop, and I'm trying to talk and remember things that happened to me in high school and everything. I want it at 6 inches. The other ones are off too. Okay. But basically, what I tend to, I mean, a lot of people for some reason go against this. I don't really know why, but I honestly think it's very beneficial if you become friends with your teacher. That's, if you ask me, the key to high school and everything like that. I mean, becoming good friends with your teacher will open so many doors for you. For me, I got the opportunity to do so many things that I wouldn't have gotten to do if I wasn't that close with my teacher. Um, like, uh, uh, that's not 17. Um, but basically, God, okay. Um, okay. So I'm just getting my basics done here. Um, but sketching in high school is quite intense. I mean, that's what was that was my personal experience. Um, I mean, of course, it will always vary from school to school and from teacher to teacher. Okay, let's change this to black. Nope. Oh, it's always popping up on my other screen. There we go. Okay, but in my third year, so my sophomore year of high school, I actually was able to join the Cambridge program of graphic design where you work on your projects and stuff like that in your school with your teacher, and you basically then just okay, there we go. And then you make poster boards, literally way too many poster boards, and you end up sending that to England, to Cambridge University, and they will grade it and everything, and you will get scored. And if you pass, you get a certificate from Cambridge saying that you've passed their course, basically. Um, I mean, my personal experience, not just my personal experience, but like even other students that were in my class during that time, um, were very. I mean, even the teacher was unhappy with that course because it was just um, way. Well, first of all, it was way too much work for the actual projects that we had. For my like final project that I had, I ended up doing it was 12 poster boards, so six poster boards, double sided, where you have to have your final design, variations of that design, sketches from beginning to end, and it was basically something that I mean, before that I did 3 years, well, including that year, I did 3 years of graphic design, and that was something that I never did, and most of the other students never did either, because everyone has their own ways of doing design and whatever they're doing, and I mean, it basically made a lot of students just quit doing graphic design, and I mean, it was the same thing um, with the regular art program that also had a Cambridge course, which the students in the end just ended up hating art because it became, instead of being something fun that they did, it became a chore, and it just stopped being fun for everyone. And in the end, in our graphic design class, I mean, I personally think that there was quite a lot of people that were very good at what they did, better than me, of course, too. Um, but I just think, and other people thought too, that it was way too much to ask of the students to do that much work for something that was not so necessary, basically. And they basically didn't end up scoring any of the designs at all. They basically just scored the process of the designing, which, I mean, it depends, of course, on how you see it. If you see art as a as a skill-based concept, or a more of a how do you say it? More of a learning task, something that you can just acquire by going to courses and stuff like that and learning it in school. I mean, I personally think that that's not what art is like or graphic design is like. Um, but I mean, that of course depends on how you actually look at the whole process. Um, I don't quite know yet how I'm gonna be doing this. I'm gonna go back to my sketch and just briefly look over how I might do this. Here, I'm gonna open up my one of my older projects to get some inspiration, I guess. And I mean, the thing is, I would really like to. Oh God, too big of a file. I would really like to base this project off of that old one and have something similar to it, because I personally was really happy with this other project. Um, but yeah, I honestly, if anyone is interested in graphic design and you're just getting out of middle school, or wanting to, if I mean, even if you're already in high school and are even on your last year or anything, and want to maybe either do a career in this field, or even just like me, just do it as a hobby and have fun with it. um, I would really recommend that you join, if your school has a course, join it and have fun with it. um, I don't quite know yet how I'm gonna incorporate the primary colors into this. I don't know if I want to go with the rainbow waterfall, basically, on the sides, or if I want to do more of the background on the sides and have the arrow basically crack and explode a little. Um, or if I'm gonna have the colors in this part here, where the basic, I mean, let me explain this really fast. What I kind of want this to be, it's basically like a drill head drilling into the earth and cracking it open, similar to like the shapes cracking open here and then exploding out and stuff like that. um yes, I actually made some notes to what I wanted to talk about in this. I mean, I don't quite know how many high schools actually offer graphic design. I mean, I personally think that it would be quite a lot, because it's for schools. It's a very easy way to get a lot of. I mean, sounds very um, bad, but I mean, it's easy for the schools to entertain, basically, and educate a lot of students at once with one teacher, so the schools basically have a low maintenance cost on teaching students this stuff, um, with basically just one teacher. And so I'm gonna guess that multiple, I mean, a lot of high schools have graphic design programs or similar programs. Um, I mean, like I said, I personally never was into actually working on. Let me fill this. Actually, I should have turned that into a shape. Hope I can go back. Yeah, perfect. Getting used to the Z. Okay. Getting used to Photoshop again. Um, okay. Now shape, and there we go. Okay. Um, but I mean, I personally think that working, maybe joining a class, if you do join a graphic design class, try to join it with people that you know, like people that you know are also into the same subject as, and that are actually passionate about it too. I mean, this is honestly something that you should join and really pursue if you're passionate about it. If it's something that you know you're just like, you know, I'll just use it to waste time in high school. It's not really something that you should consider doing. Um, that being due to, I mean, the that this God, where's the background? Um, that this is actually quite like a high maintenance, if you may say so, high maintenance. Um, high maintenance class and subject in general. That, I mean, if you really pour time and effort into it, you will be able to go somewhere that, but that you just can't without actually putting time in it. I personally, I mean, usually our classes, I mean, my school had a block schedule, so our classes were 1.5, actually, 1 hour and actually no 1.5 hours long. And I actually ended up having my teacher for my senior year. I had him 3 times a day, so I had him for 4.5 hours a day, during most of which I was working on graphic design stuff, just designing stuff for fun, and just doing stuff here and there. Um, okay, so I actually now know how I'm gonna be doing this. I'm gonna be doing here. I'm gonna be cracking the rock basically into the explosions and stuff like that, and it's gonna reveal the primary colors and stuff like that. But basically working on so much stuff and just becoming really close to even do the time and stuff like that, with me being with my teacher. He ended up giving me so many basically just side projects and stuff like that I got to work on with like people from the school, and even a police officer that worked in the city, and he basically was like the graphic designer of the county, of the city. I mean, I'm sorry. And he I basically worked alongside with him. I mean, he was also, I mean, he was working on a Windows XP laptop that was so thick that it was I think from like the year 2000, and he was still working on Photoshop CS2, um, which for me was very hard to get used to because I was always used to working on I think we started working on CS4 when I got into high school. Um, but I was basically working alongside with him, just doing like little projects for the city and stuff like that. And I mean, it was a great experience. I mean, I would redo it anytime if I had the option. And I mean, I would still love to be working alongside with him and everything like that. I mean, it's a great experience that you get out of working with other people and doing like working with partners and stuff like that, because you come out of your box and you see what other people think is good too, and you really learn a lot about how design evolves and stuff like that. Um, okay, so let me see how I'm gonna do this now. I actually don't know how I'm gonna be doing this. I mean, I like my ideas in my head. They look a lot different than the way I can express them in Photoshop. Uh, and they're much more plain than I want them to be in on paper basically. Um, so I might actually end up scrapping this one and going with a different idea that I had that is basically um, I guess you can compare it to an atom, not fusing, but an atom exploding basically, and similar to the square here that you see, and it's just exploding like that. But instead of having like a colorful background and being very, I mean, this is a very active picture. Being it more plain, have a plain black background and having it be a lot of empty space. So I'm actually end up working on this one, on that one now, because it's just I have no idea how I'm gonna be continuing this one. I'm gonna need to like sleep a night over that and work on it. Um, so I'm just gonna do a quick sketch again on how want this to look. Basically, it's basically like that, and then cracks open. Of course, I mean I'm gonna be doing this with the pen tool. um, and then out come the colors. Yeah, that's similar to what I want it to look like. Let me open a new page here. 300, yes. Okay. But I mean, working with people is a really great experience, and you literally learn more than you would working by yourself twice the time, like in twice the time. Um, 8.5, 11. I really like to center things with Control T, because it gives you perfectly perfect corners and center of the even a circle. Um, get in, and God, I need to. I mean, I did this in 2000. I think I finished in 2015 with this. I worked about I think a month on this and was just. I mean, it was a lot of. I mean, as you can see, there is a lot of layers. I mean, if I go down here, and all, I mean, I did all of this individually. Every single square and everything was done by hand and stuff like that. Um, so now I'm gonna be working with the pen tool a little and just gonna be path. Okay. Oh. But I really would recommend for anyone that, I don't know, I mean, that is interested in art. I mean, when you see it, I mean, you can tell that you're interested. I mean, you will just know that. I guess you won't just know, but I mean, you can tell that you can see things in the art that you know that will. I am my own shape all of a sudden. Um, but I mean, when you're driving around with your parents or whatever, and you see advertisements and stuff like that, and you're like, I mean, in smaller towns, you can really see that I'm really not happy with this. um, um, you really start to notice that there's a lot of people that do graphic design that don't really. I mean, I guess there's a lot of people that do it for literally just earning money and just want to make a quick buck out of it and stuff like that. I mean, yes, of course, there's always people that actually, actually are passionate about it and stuff like that. But I guess some people just don't have. I don't want to say. I mean, I don't want to sound stupid and be like, you have to have skill for this stuff. I mean, it's a good mix of everything that you need to have to actually, make. Here I go again with saying stuff that really doesn't work. I mean, it's hard to define what is good graphic design because basically any design is good as long as you're happy with it. It's your work, so it doesn't really matter if other people are happy with it. I mean, it's quote unquote art. So um, that was really bad. So it just really depends on your view and other people's view, and if you're happy with it or not. But I mean, that's why people go around and say that picture looks good and that other picture looks like crap. But yet again, another person turns around and says the exact opposite. It's just personal preference, I guess. That's it. Personally, that's what I was looking for. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm starting to get concentrated here again on actually what I'm doing. Um, but I mean, my personal inspiration always comes from. I don't know why, but like when I have like nights that I can't really fall asleep and stuff like that, um, then I start, trying to imagine what I think would look nice, and I'm still not happy with this. What would look nice and how I would maybe like to design something else, something new. Um, I mean, I do really like to base my art off of you know previous stuff that I've done, like I'm doing now. I've other than if I had a project from my teacher, I've only made this art themed like this. I only like, I mean, I tend to only use primary colors, for the main for the main picture itself. I mean, for the background, it doesn't really matter to me because it's, you know, it's just aesthetic. I mean, it looks. I personally think it looks nicer with a background than this because right now it looks like it's like just bam pasted on there and just like, you know, it's too plain. But with this, I feel like it gives it depth. You know, it looks like the rays are actually coming out at you and stuff like that, other than when it's like this because it looks plain and flat. But that's how I like to that's how I like to keep my uh, art unique. I guess. I mean, I don't know if I mean it's not really unique. I mean, I base my art off of uh, the about don't know if you're aware of the oh god that's really bad what I'm doing. Um, Jesus Christ, I'm way too out of this for way too long. Okay, no, that's not what. That's what I want. I think. No, that's not what I want. Oh, there we go. There it's. There we go. I base it off of the Bauhaus. I mean, I'm from Germany, so I really I don't know. I like to base stuff off of my roots. I guess. I mean, that's not really a good way to put it, but I really do enjoy the Bauhaus design, and I think it's simple, but it's very unique. I mean, there's and I honestly think that there's like unlimited possibilities of just making it yours, so to say. Um, and I mean, you can always, no matter what art it is, you can always add a modern spin to it or your own spin to it, and just do what you enjoy with it. Um, Taking way much longer than I would actually take for this because I'm focusing way more on what I'm saying because I don't want to talk crap the whole time. Um, wrong way. But I mean, basically, one of the reasons why I really enjoy graphic design is because you can do this. You can just no matter what you do, you can always just go back and you can go back and fix the mistake that you made. Um, which I mean, my mom was really into painting and you know drawing with oil and stuff like that, and that was you know I when I was younger I tried, but I don't have the I guess like the hand skill for it, and I tend to mess up a lot, which I personally think is okay. I mean, as long as you just end up being happy with your results that you get, and but after a while it I was just tired of oh, I'm sorry of doing work that I didn't end up being completely happy with because it's you know it's not perfect and I guess I'm a bit of a perfectionist in my own way on art. I mean I know there's no real way of being perfect in art because you can't please anyone everyone, which would be nice, but um, you know some things are just not completely possible. Um, but I mean, I'm I enjoy art that I'm happy with and that I enjoy making. And I mean, it doesn't really matter to me if people are happy with it in the end. I mean, as long as it looks good to me and I'm happy with it. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit off topic now, but I mean, I'm gonna start heading back to the high school stuff. Um, I mean, our graphic design lab. I mean, our school was a charter school, so it was guess you can consider them semi-private schools. They're they're like in the public domain. They're considered public schools, but you have it's like a basically like a school club, like Sam's Club or something like that, where you basically either give volunteer hours, like your parents give volunteer hours, or they pay like a certain amount every year, and which I mean it's like I think for my school it was $300 a year, which I mean really not all that bad, considering like the benefits that you get from going to a charter school. And it was I mean the school that I went to was very small. Um, I think we had my first couple years we had around see really fast here. There's something wrong with the stream. Um, okay. We had around like 700 students like during my first couple of years there. And I mean, our last year they this I don't know why, but our school went up to I think over 1,200 students, which for the building size was way too much, and the layout of the school was destroyed basically. Um, oh, I'm not liking the resolution of this at all. God. Ah, but that's okay. I mean, it's very small, so um, but the graphic design class that we had I think around 35 or so computer stations to work on, and it was I mean, like I said before, the teacher was a really great teacher, and he really know what he was doing. I mean, before he actually started teaching in schools, he was a graphic designer that like worked for a smaller company, and I guess I mean he wanted to I guess educate people about it. Um, am I not? Mm, oh, never mind. Um, let me get back on track here. Um, oh, okay, there we go. But I mean, he clearly knew what he was doing, and he knew how to actually teach people how to uh, like teach the basics of graphic design and the basic rules that you should adhere to. There we go. Um, and I mean, we were working on MacBooks. No, not MacBooks. What are they called? The desktop versions of, like, I guess they're just called iMacs. Should have thought of that. But I mean, I've played with Photoshop before I joined the class, and I've always had a Windows PC, so I really did not enjoy working on MacBooks because it was just the controls are for me personally way too different with the mouse not being able to right click and stuff like that, and actually having a different keyboard and everything, um, different shortcuts, which shortcuts are key even though I tend to actually not use them. But once I mean, that's mostly because I'm still out of Photoshop for a bit. But once I get into it again, I'll end up being able to work quicker and stuff like that. And I mean, with this video, I'm not even able to talk, to work very efficiently while I talk. Um, but I mean, it's just difficult for me to do two things at once. I don't quite know yet how I'm going to work on this. Okay, I think I might actually go off of the square here and use the rays that are coming out. But instead of just having yellow rays, I'm gonna be working with just different colors, the different primary colors. Um, but I ended up going back to the main subject. I actually ended up bringing in my own laptop every day to school and just working on my own copy of Photoshop, um, which was nice because I had a newer version of Photoshop. I think I was working with CS5 for the first couple years, and which was something that I personally preferred. And I even ended up, I think after my junior year, during my like in the beginning of my junior year, I ended up even buying like yes, intended for gaming too, like a powerful laptop that I can bring to school with me every day, and that'll handle larger files on Photoshop and stuff like that without any issues. Um, okay. Ah, I fucked up. Oh wait, can I go back and make a shape? Yes, I can. That's very nice. What is it? 255. Yeah. Okay. I'm not going to be working on defining any shadows or anything yet on this. I'm just going to get the basics down, and then I'll start working on that other stuff. Um, but I would really recommend. Well, I mean, if you have the option to, and you're interested in actually working on this stuff, not just in school but also at home, and I mean even in other classes if you can. I would really recommend getting your own laptop, if even, so that you can work on. Sorry, I was getting color. So that you can work on your stuff as there. Let's nope. There we go. So that you can work on your stuff independently whenever you want to. You're not really restricted to saving files always and getting files lost because you forgot to save as you were, in a rush to leave class or whatever. Um, which I mean, a lot of other students had massive problems with. I mean, they were basically done with their project, and then ended up the class before they had to turn it in, they ended up being in a rush, and then basically the next class having absolutely nothing. Which, I mean, the teacher was like, sorry, but that's your fault. I mean, if you don't take your time to save your stuff periodically, and you know, which I mean was, I mean there could have been other ways to handle that, but I mean he was mostly lenient with it and actually like did give them a little bit more time here and there than to work it out and stuff like that. Um, actually enough room to do this. See, I'm not liking the distance here between these two, but I might actually I actually might merge these and then end up mixing the colors to green them because this one is going to be yellow, so I'll mix them to green where they intersect. Um, let's go there. I actually also, instead of just having graphic design that's on the same layer, okay. I actually ended up, I started in my sophomore year actually. I also, the teacher that, the graphic design teacher ended up taking over the yearbook work from, I think it was I don't know if it was the photography class that was doing the yearbook before, but he ended up actually making a second class that was just for yearbook, and I was able to join it because I was he knew me and he knew what work I did and stuff like that, and he knew that like he could mostly mostly rely on me to work on that stuff too. I mean, I did tend to slack off a little bit here and there, but I mean, I'm pretty sure that that's a normal thing to do in high school. Um, let me see here really fast. There we go, yellow. Um, oh, I'm sorry. Um, but that was also, I mean, yearbook is also basically just, well, not pure designing class, but it depends on what your job is in that class. I mean, yeah, of course, you can be sent out and have to do, you know, actual photography stuff and stuff like that. But I mean, that was never my thing, and he knew that was not my thing. I mean, yeah, every now and then, if someone was sick or something, or there was an exception, I would, of course, be sent out and to take pictures and stuff like that. But I mean, that's not really that big of a biggie, I guess. I'm on the wrong layer again. Um, but I mean, it mostly was. I mean, I personally wasn't that big of a fan of that class. I mean, it just depends on what you want to do. I mean, I prefer to work on my own stuff. I like to work on ideas that I have, or if I mean if it's a project that's fun, then I'll prefer to do that. Um, but I mean, working on I mean, yearbook classes, I personally think it's a little bit monotone because you basically just end up doing very repetitive stuff. Just working on literally just working on working on like designs that will repeat throughout the whole book, and there's not going to be much original work there. It's just you're gonna come up with one design, and then you're just gonna modify that design throughout the whole book and basically leave it at that. I actually am going to go through later, and although I don't even think I need to, I think I put this at way too low of a resolution for it to matter. I mean, I tend to go through and like here. I don't even know if I did a good job here. Um, Not really, but I like to go through and make sure that all of these corners are edged off perfectly and are straight. Um, I don't actually quite know what I'm gonna do here. I guess it doesn't matter. I mean, I can always go back and change the colors later anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But I am gonna drop the transparency of this so that I know that I need to merge these two colors because I will most definitely forget. Um, I honestly don't even remember what I was talking about before. Um, oh yeah, how yearbook class is monotone. I mean, I personally think it's monotone. I mean, if there's of course people that really enjoyed that class, and I mean, wrong fucking layer again. Um, I mean, it really depends on what you like to do. I mean, of course, there's in regular graphic design class, there will always be like a project or something that you're just not gonna be into at all. I mean, there was stuff that I literally hated really badly, and I ended up just doing like joke work, I guess. I mean, just like to like piss off my teacher, I guess, somewhat, because I was just like, because I didn't want to do it, and it was like, like not that nice of a project. Which I mean, I really shouldn't have like, looking back at it, I shouldn't have like slacked off and done like stupid stuff with it. But I ended up actually like doing that. I ended up doing some pretty decent work for it too, which wasn't all that bad. What color am I gonna do? I don't know. Yeah, I guess I'll go with the yellow again. Actually, yeah, I'll go with the yellow. Why not? Might as well. Okay. Uh, Actually, way too big. I think. Let me bring this over. Um. All right. I tend to, I don't know how I'm gonna quite do the overlap here, but coming out gray. That's actually, I kind of like that. Actually, that that's turning out gray. Um. But I mean, I don't think that that should be the message of the picture, that mixing colors turns into something plain, because mixing colors actually turns into something quite amazing. Um, but I yet don't know how I will actually do that. I mean, yeah, of course, there's multiple ways of actually mixing those colors and getting that to look right. Where are we? There we are. Oh. Um, I mean, I'm just gonna try and see if I can do this with despised magic wand tool. No, I can't. Um, Trying to make my life easy, but I guess not. Uh, um, And I'm just gonna go from the intersect here, and I'm just gonna basically. I mean, the nice thing is about this picture, it's a low resolution, so it doesn't really matter all that much. I mean, I like to do, like, this is, I think, it's a 300 megabyte file, but I mean, because I enjoy really getting into the picture and being able to, like, work on very detailed stuff. Like, over here, I basically, I mean, this part of the picture is, you know, has minute meaning in the actual message of the picture, but I just really enjoy that. These are breaking apart and forming into, a different shape from that color, and then they break down here yet again, turn yet again into a liquid, and then reform into another shape. But I really enjoy, like, I mean, I think I worked like on this dripping part. I worked, I think, like half a day on just, it's stuff that I like to do, like small little details, I guess, that I really enjoy, that like give you, that'll, make the picture more interesting. So that's, I'm still trying to figure out how I will incorporate like something interesting into this. Um, and another thing that I really enjoyed about the graphic design class was that, um, I mean, our teacher, I mean, most schools, teachers are like, you can't listen to music and stuff like that. But our graphic design teacher was amazing. He always, I mean, if you didn't listen to music on your own, he would always play music. And I mean, I personally think that that's a great tool, not only for inspiration, but also for. Well, let me just this back out. Not quite sure if I'm happy with this, but I'm gonna leave it for now and just see how I feel about it when the picture progresses a little. But going back to the music thing, um, like, music was like the number one reason why I managed to like work on this stuff for literally 4.5 hours a day, basically in school, and be able to, finish my artwork and stuff like that with, without going literally crazy. I mean, doing this stuff in silence, you will just, I mean, I personally would not be able to do it for a long time. I would be able to, like, maybe do this for uh I guess in half an hour or something like that. I mean, like right now I'm listening to music too because it's just something that I need passively, that I can like focus my brain on basically while I like zombie work on the art itself. Um all right. So I guess I'm gonna start working on the shadowing of the beams. Wait, actually, I think I'm. I mean, I'm scared that this one, the yellow one, is a little bit too big for my personal preference. Um, Let me see really fast. I'm getting a notification from. Ah, okay, never mind. Um, Actually, okay, there we go. Um, but I'm afraid that if I do reduce this, I mean, first of all, it's not gonna really match up with the shape of the crack in the sphere. Um, but I also think that it's gonna add too much white space. Um, and I honestly also think that through graphic design, I really got into music. I mean, I was never really that much of a music person before. I was really into video games and stuff like that, but never all that much into music. It was just something that I never really got into. I mean, I don't know. I guess I was a little bit unexperienced in the music theme or genre theme. Yeah. Um, all right, let's get really in here and get right on that line. Um, but I mean, ever since I started listening to music while doing designs and stuff like that, I really started to listen to music a lot more, even when I wasn't designing, which I'm personally really happy about now because music has become a really big part of my life and I really enjoy it. All right, I'm gonna hope that actually it doesn't really matter if that becomes a neat line. The inside of this is actually I'm not really too concerned about like the the shading on this being like centered and stuff like that. I'm probably gonna. I mean, I'm not all that happy with the gradient stuff in here because I mean gradients don't really always look that nice, and I'm just not that big of a fan of it. But I mean, for this, it was one of the only options that I had of like that I personally think I had of doing that stuff. I don't know if I messed this up earlier or if it actually was like this. I think I moved it a little and it got messed up. Actually, let me see really fast. Hmm. Oh well. Um. All right. So I'm gonna be shape and then going to yellow. 1000% yellow. Um, and then I'm just gonna be going down to make it look a little bit. Actually, I want it to be on this side. Let's see how I did it back here. Okay. So I will not. No, that's actually the wrong way that I did it over here. Um, which I guess it's a little bit easier because I mean it's going to be easier to do a shading on this side. There. And I like to have the shading be always a little bit less than the actual. A little bit less than the actual color itself. Let me that, but go beyond this a little so we don't get any weird artifacts and stuff like that. Um, all right. And I honestly think that, yeah, I've been going for almost 1.5 hours, so I think at the 1.5 hour mark I'm gonna be stopping. Um, but I will continue some other time when I continue working on this. Um, I think that's a nice one. See that? I mean, I personally think that this already instantly adds, a 3D perspective of this. I mean, basically it pops out instantly. Like the light is basically looks like it's coming from up here in the corner somewhere. Now when I start adding this to all the other layers, it's gonna look a lot more 3D, I guess. And that's what I really enjoy about working on Photoshop stuff like this because you can just use the pen tool and I mean you have perfect lines, which is also something that I really didn't like about working with like normal paints and stuff like that. And I mean with a brush, it's I mean yeah, I know there's people that are very very skilled with painting and stuff like that, but that's just something I never learned and got into. Well, going over here, and I'm gonna actually overlap onto the green. And oh, I don't know what I did there. Oh, okay. Wrong direction. Go. But the nice part about being in a graphic design class is like if I mean you will make friends in that class, of course, and because there will always be people that are passionate about the stuff as much as you are, and that will really enjoy working on art and making their own art style. I guess. I mean, it's a big world. It's hard to have your have an actual unique art style. I guess. Um, I mean, there will always be someone that's most likely doing something similar to what you are. But I mean, that's not something that should discourage someone. That's something that should, encourage you to try to be different, I guess, and work on your own ideas and be original, I guess. Okay, I don't quite know yet how the the green merger here is throwing off. I mean, I personally think this throwing off the 3D effect of the picture here, but like I said, I'll just leave it for now and just see what will happen as I progress. Um, Sorry if I'm getting a little bit less talkative, but I'm really talking a lot is not something I tend to do a lot. Um, Something that's really am I not getting rid of this? Hmm. All right, now it works. Um, okay. But I mean, the thing is, if even if you're already in a graphic design class and you're just not feeling all that happy with it, God damn it, why am I in the? I'm not able to shortcut out of this for some reason. Um. Okay. even if you're in a graphic design class right now and you just feel like it's not fun for you, I mean, it depends. You then I would really encourage you to basically just go home and when you have some free time, you know, from homework and stuff like that. Oh, fuck, Jesus Christ, I'm doing the same exact thing that I did before. Um, I would really encourage you like go home and when you have some free time, actually either find a project that interests you online. I mean, there's thousands upon thousands of like design projects that you could do, like ideas of things that you could do on the internet, and even tutorials and stuff that you can follow to improve your skills in certain things. Um, and that was basically like what we did in school most of the time too. We literally, I mean, our teacher picked out like a certain project for us to do, like a certain tutorial, and we'll follow it, and he would want us to like add our own spin to it, and make it ours. And I honestly think that's like the perfect way for you to like hone your skills in certain parts of graphic design. Okay, let's see there. Okay, let's see. Get rid of the guides because I really don't think I need them anymore. Uh, yeah, I'm so far I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, it's not even close to being halfway done, but I mean, there will still be a lot of hours that I'm gonna throw into this. It's my little side project that I have, and just doing random stuff that comes into my head. And yeah, I'm guessing I'm getting done too with the stream too. I mean, it's been a lot I've talked about. I mean, of course, if you have any questions, of course, feel free to ask. I'll always be watching the comments and seeing, and responding, of course. Um, and there we go. Yeah, I guess I am done for today with the live stream. I'm getting a little bit tired from talking. Uh, but yeah, seriously, if you have any questions, just feel free to ask, and I'll try to respond as fast as I can. And if even if you need any tips on if you want some ideas, I guess I can throw some out there. I don't quite know what style you would like or anything, but I mean that's something that it's nice to get like random. I always like to get like some random designs to do and just have some fun with it and twist it and turn it and just see what turns out in the end. But hey, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.